Hello. How y'all doing?
I have a dream.
You do?
Well, we want to participate.
Ask what you can do for your country.
You better work.
It's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
Welcome back to Bonus Features. Thank you so much for your support so far, you guys. We really appreciate it. And we've got a great show for you today.
Yes, we are stepping away from murder, can't sleep, gruesome, and moving into ridiculous, kind of funny, gruesome. Mm-hmm. A little more lighthearted, but also a tale with some death as well, which is sad.
Yeah, that's. I don't know why I'm laughing. Yeah. People will die. And I'm a man of my word. I can do a better Joker impression. I forgot that was Joker. And I did a hybrid Joker Jigsaw. So I just want to make it known.
Let's hear some Jigsaw.
Jigsaw?
Yeah.
You want to play a little game? You've spent your entire life making podcasts to shill for shaving companies like Harry's.com. But tonight, you'll have to shed your own skin to survive.
Okay, let's hear the Joker.
You want to know how I got these scars? My dad was a creep and a podcaster. Oh, fuck, I'm wearing intake. I didn't realize I was wearing it. Let's put an intake on that nose. No, intake is a great product, but I am taking it off for the clips.
Action Park was an amusement water park loaded...
Action Park was an amusement.
Action Park was an amusement water park located in the Vernon Township of New Jersey, operating between the years of 1978 and 1996. The park was opened by Eugene Mulvihill and his company called Great American Recreation, or GAR. GAR owned the Vernon Valley ski area, which was bought by Gene after he was kicked off of Wall Street for participating in penny stock scams. Gene was set during the winter, but was looking for ways to make money during the summer season. First, he decided to try to keep the ski area open longer by creating the world's largest artificial snowmaking machine out of a jet engine. Off to a good start.
Yeah.
But then decided ultimately to create attractions at the site that would operate during the summer months and compete with Orlando by making a summer water amusement park. And on July 4th, 1978, Action Park was born. Action Park would become one of North America's first modern water parks, but to the public, it would be known as names such as Accident Park, Class Action Park, Friction Park, or Traction Park. Action Park operated pretty reasonably normal until 1982. Up until then, it didn't have the dangerous reputation that it later developed. This ultimately drew people in. Its most successful years were during this period where the rides were fully operational and no major accidents had occurred.
Okay.
In 1978, they added two... Did you see that?
What happened?
He caught a fly out of midair.
He ate it?
Yeah.
Good job.
In 1978, they added 2 water slides and a go-kart track to the area. In 1979, the park added more water slides, swimming pools, tennis courts, and a softball field. Eventually, the park would consist of 3 attraction areas: the Alpine Center, Motor World, and Water World. Dividing these 3 sections was a major highway, Route 94.
I just want to say that I've seen pictures and video. I don't know how they got away with making something so third worldly. It really looks busted. Like, you compare it to Disneyland, which existed around that time, or like just a normal amusement park, it really looks poor. Well, like, it's very trashy.
There's a reason for that.
But the guy was a multi-millionaire billionaire.
Yeah, but he was doing it all himself.
So it's literally like, you know, when you go to a trailer park and like one of the guys makes like a ride in his backyard and it's like made out of a a tube.
Yeah, it's like
and
the expensive version of
Yeah,
that.
it's like the jacked up version of that.
Yeah.
A do-it-yourself amusement park is not good.
Waterworld was essentially all water attractions like insane water slides, swimming pools, wave pools, and not so lazy rivers. One of the most notorious rides in Waterworld was an attraction called the Cannonball Loop. Cannonball Loop was an enclosed tube water slide completely pitch black that had a loop at the base of it. You would climb a large set of stairs, enter the enclosed tube, which would shoot you out towards the loop and fire you out at the base into a pool. Sounds fun.
You legitimately could use this to get information out of me if I was a extremist. Like, the idea of standing at the top and looking down into the darkness and then you go down there and maybe end up in Silent Hill or the town from, right? This is not like, or worse yet, you don't go into another dimension and you actually have to do the ride. And God, I mean, it's just, are there no safety laws in New Jersey?
There are.
But he would bribe the...
He didn't care. He wanted to break laws. That was his whole thing. He was an anti-establishment, no rules.
Okay, I get that.
I do what I want kind of guy.
But
and he also had tons of millionaire friends who let him get away with it.
Okay, so nobody was going, you can't do this.
There were instances, which I will talk about.
I don't want to sound like a dork here. I do sound like a dork here, you know? I'm going to go on record and say, I get that this is not the cool stance. The cool stance is to go onto the ride.
Not a single person who worked on this slide had any experience in engineering, which is how all the rides were built at Action Park, with some maniac having an idea that they wanted to build.
Now listen, you know how you're standing up, gravity pulling you down? What if we turn that around?
This slide came about when Gene drew a circle on a cocktail napkin.
Which means he was drinking. You don't have I was at...
He just went like this.
The deli, he drew it on a meth bag. Just whatever he had lying around. You know, a ketamine satchel.
Once the slide was built, they tested it by throwing test dummies down the slide, which would come out completely dismembered. So in turn, they would change minor things about the slide like the height, angle, or water pressure until the dummies would come out in one piece.
So the line that they had to cross in safety before it was ready for child enjoyment was put a mannequin down and the head is still on it afterwards.
Yes. Step 2 was to put real-life humans down the slide and see what happens so the park enrolled their teenage employees to test out the slide for $100. The slide was so steep that it fired these people at full speed towards the loop, which then lifted them off of the slide as they entered the loop and bashed their faces onto the slide as they exited.
Yeah, you've got to see the visual. I mean, we're going to make clips and everything. If you're listening to the audio, you got it. What is it called, this ride specifically?
Cannonball Loop.
Cannonball Loop Action Park.
Some of you may have rid it.
Please write in. What's the email?
The email is bonusfeatures.contact@gmail.com.
Yes.
If you have participated in any of these rides, we'd love to hear it.
We have one person in our Discord who shared a story and it was great. And a lot of people went to this park. So please, we want to hear all the stories.
The first few kids who tried it out left with bloody noses and missing teeth.
Oh my God.
They then added padding to the slide so that when they hit their faces, it wouldn't hurt as much, and then sent more people down to test it out. When these people exited the slide, they came out with lacerations to which they couldn't figure out why, which forced them to take the loop apart, where they found that people's teeth were getting stuck in the padding and slicing open everyone else who went down.
That is legitimately more terrifying than some of the stuff Giger came up with in his alien sketches for the xenomorph in that movie. Like, human teeth stuck inside of a black vortex and you're just screaming in the night and you come out the bottom bleeding and they're like, here's your $100 bill.
But that was a lot of money back then.
No, it wasn't.
In the 70s? To get $100?
Oh, this was the 70s?
Yes.
Wait, this Action Park was in the 70s?
70s and 80s. It closed in the 90s.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I was totally picturing this more, okay, 70s money, yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty
Not
good.
bad.
Pretty good.
I mean, not really, considering you're the first guy down and you go, I might die. If you're a teenager, I guess it is.
They then opened the ride to the public, but with restrictions. You had to be the right size. If you were too big, you'd get stuck, and if you were too small, you wouldn't get up enough momentum to complete the loop, and you'd have to be rescued from the trap door in the slide.
Oh my Lord.
Nonetheless, people loved riding this water slide, as it was the first thing you saw when you entered the park, and most people took it on as a challenge.
Yeah. Okay.
Another ride in Waterworld was called Cannonball Falls, which ultimately seemed like a pretty normal water slide until you got to the end of it and were shot out 10 feet into the air on the side of a mountain.
That's so crazy. Like, just because there's so many people going through that, there had to be some people, probably a lot of people, that were not familiar with the way it ended. So they go, let's experience this slide. And you don't know what to expect, but you know what you don't expect? The ride just ending. Like, you're on a surface, and then suddenly there is no more ride.
Yeah.
And you're a bird.
That's what the guy in the documentary explained it as. He goes, you get on this ride thinking that it's just like a normal slide, and then suddenly, and he literally goes, and suddenly, you're in the fucking sky.
And you're pointed up for the most part, right? So you're not even aware of how high you are. So you think you've been launched into some weird dimension, yeah, and you go, I guess this just happens sometimes. You know, a lot of people disappear for whatever reason. There's been some sort of physical displacement phenomenon here, and now I am up in the sky. I'm gonna fucking fall to my death.
People would get on this ride not knowing how to swim and then would land in a pool that was 17 feet deep and would have to be rescued.
And they were ice cold, right? Because this isn't the tropics. This is Jersey.
Some of the pools were, we'll talk about the temperature of the water later, but some of the pools were like regular pool temperature, and then other pools were spring water, and he really wanted to simulate like the mountain spring experience. So the water was like really fucking cold.
Yeah, some things don't need to be simulated.
Yeah.
A true freezing to death in the rapids experience with blunt force trauma. We don't allow helmets because, it's like, dude.
One more popular attraction in Waterworld was the speed slide, which made you go over 60 miles per hour.
That's insane! 60 miles per hour.
Yes.
That is crazy.
You would drop vertically off of a tall slide, which was surrounded by a canopy that would catch you in case you fell off. This was a free-falling water slide, kind of like the pyramids in the Bahamas. Everyone who got off this ride walked funny from having water shot up their asses.
He's molesting his park guests
with water.
He's a true psychopath. This fly has got to be killed.
Why
babe.
are there suddenly
I
so
don't
many flies
know.
in our house?
Why are they not dead?
It's winter. It snowed today.
Oh, there it is. Oh,
there's a mosquito right here. How's that possible? It's fucking
Fresco's
snowing.
going for it.
Get it, Fresco.
Get it, Fresco. Get the fly, baby.
He's on it.
Anyway, yeah, this guy's a psycho. It's scary when childishness is combined with an adult billionaire.
Yeah.
You know? Because, like, a child doing this in his backyard, he's got his Hot Wheel and he, like, makes a track from up here and they, like, tape an ant to the top and they're like, you're about to die. And it's like, oh, that's kind of creepy. But, like, okay, he'll grow out of it. But if you don't grow out of it, you're like, I'm going to make people go light speed. I'm going to see how close to terminal velocity I can make a child go. Send another mannequin down. Well, this one was partially decapitated. Okay, let's send some. They should have tried felons first.
Tested it out on felons?
Yeah, they went too quickly from mannequin to man. They should go from
mannequin to child.
Childican. Go to, a criminal. And then, if he gets shredded, then whatever. Okay, tell me more about these rides.
Other Waterworld rides were the Aqua Scoot.
They're all like they all have torture device style names. Like in medieval times, the torture devices were all very quaint, like the elbow holder, and then it would be like rips you apart by your limbs. It's all like the scooter. It's like, oh, that sounds kind of cute. It literally disembowels you. Scooter.
On the aqua scoot, riders would ride a sled down the water slide and skip across the pool at the bottom like a stone.
That sounds fun. That sounds fun.
If you didn't sit properly on the sled, you would fall forward and smash your face.
On the water?
Yeah.
Okay.
That one is the most tame, honestly. Yeah. This ride was also home to a massive beehive that would sting people
there we go.
as they waited to get on.
He put that beehive there. You know, he was like, I failed today. I wasn't on. This is not.
This ride's not bad enough.
Get me some Siberian hornets.
The Tarzan swing was exactly as it sounds. You would swing and release into a pool below, surrounded by a crowd watching you. The pool below was a natural pool filled with trout. Everyone would bully you as you fell to the water, and some people would lose their swimsuits with 150 people watching.
That's what I'm saying. It's so ratchet. Can you imagine going to Disneyland and you do some sort of rope ride? Anyway, there's no ride in Disneyland where you're holding a rope. But if there was, you're certainly not falling into a freshwater, like, fish pond with actual fish.
It's like the rides that weren't bad enough. He created aspects that would make it bad, like the bees, or like not getting rid of the bees. Or in this one, he was like, let's create a watching deck where hundreds of people will watch you. And they were calling, like, they would call people pussies. They would chant, like, pussy, pussy, pussy. And then, like, guys would jump on the rope and they would, like, take their dick and balls out.
It sounds so fun. It sounds so fun. I know I'm supposed to be against this psycho, but that sounds amazing. Oh, my God. And you know the girls, their tits are out.
Yeah.
So many tits.
Yeah. They would all cheer when the tops would fall off.
I need somebody, what was it, the Tarzan ride?
The Tarzan swing.
I need somebody to make a montage of footage of people chanting it while titties are out and people are spiraling into trout with the Phil Collins soundtrack from Tarzan.
2 worlds, 1 family.
Fucking jump, you pussies!
Roaring Springs was a bunch of tube rides that would come together into one. People would end up in a giant traffic jam getting ready to go into a tunnel. Once they were in the tunnel, they would get torn apart and impaled.
Excuse me? What do you mean by that?
It's just so funny how I worded that.
Torn, yeah, that. People would get anally raped. Oh, I don't know why I chose those words. What do you mean impaled?
Parts of the tube that they were going into were not properly built. Like there would be like screws hanging out or like, and they would fall off the tube and it would like impale them or whatever, you know.
I don't think you know what the word impaled.
No, that's how they described it. That's exactly how they described it.
Mildly impaled.
Yeah.
Okay.
So many people were jammed together that people would fall off of their tubes and get stuck under other tubes.
But this, again, sure, you're getting shredded, but girls are landing on top of you. You know that at the end of this ride.
It's not girls. It's never a hot girl that's landing on top of you.
It could be, though.
It's like a gross mom or like...
I'll take it. If I'm
a drunk dad with a huge beer belly. Like, that's what...
Well, hey there!
It's that guy landing on top of a 14-year-old girl.
Yeah, that's true. That is horrible.
Colorado River Ride seemed like an easygoing ride, but was extremely dangerous. It was a tube ride that would throw you off of a little cliff and into rapids. Colorado River Ride seemed like an easygoing ride, but was extremely dangerous. It was a tube ride that would throw you off of a little cliff and into rapids. It was supposed to be a lazy river, but Gene decided during construction that he wanted to simulate Class 4 rapids.
Is that the highest class?
I think you can go Class 5. It's like the other side of Harvey Passage.
Yeah. The side that I wanted to go on and the people there were like, "You will die."
Yeah.
You will. I'm not there. They kept saying that over and over. I went, come on, I'm not going to. And they went, no. You will die. You are going to die if you go over there. And I went, okay, I guess I'm not doing it.
Yeah, you know what else you did then? You found a giant tree and you thought, I'm going to push this tree down the rapids.
Yeah.
Well, there's kids and stuff playing in these little rapids.
I need
and
Action
the
Park.
whole family went, no.
Yeah. If I had done that at Action Park, I would have been applauded.
That's
By
true.
the Tarzan boys.
After multiple people came off of the ride unconscious, he was forced to turn down the ride's intensity. Tubes would fly up an embankment and slam back down into the river. Fights would break out on the ride from tubes bumping into each other, and patrons would stand in the middle of the river and punch each other.
Sick.
So you get an idea of the people that are going here. They even kind of described it as like...
It's like Woodstock 99, the amusement park.
Yes. And like at one point in the Class Action Park documentary, they describe it as like all the like rich kids are like away at their cottages or they're going down to like Miami or whatever.
Yeah.
And like the middle class, lower class kids are like, we're going to Action Park.
Yeah. And there's just some Mr. Burns, Lex Luthor freak at some high castle looking down on them with steepled fingers. Yes. Swing. Sir, we have another beheading.
Motor World was across the highway and consisted of attractions such as bumper cars, racetracks, and go-karts.
Bumper cars was just, it's literal cars. It's like you just put them in cars.
People would often head over to this area after having some drinks at the beer tent, which was next door. The Lola Cars was a course where patrons would get into a mini go-kart and do a mini race. As a lot of these ride-goers were drunk, they would oftentimes drive the car all over the area except on the course.
I mean, again, this is the back and forth. I'm like, this is the greatest thing ever. And I'm like, this guy's a psycho. But that sounds awesome.
Yeah.
Drunk driving.
Some of them would drive around the park chasing employees and other patrons.
This is complete anarchy.
Some people figured out how to override the speed limiter on the go-karts. And they would then take the cars and drive them on the highway that went through the park.
Holy shit.
Like, literally, there is nobody watching these people.
That is so crazy.
Now, to what you said about the bumper cars. Super speedboats. Super speedboats was essentially your classic bumper boats, except the boats were full-on speedboats. It's what you said.
Wow.
Riders would treat these regular speedboats like bumper boats and smash them into each other.
Oh my God, that is so dangerous. That is how people lose limbs.
Lots of ride goers would crash their boats into a nearby pond, which would cover them in oil and gas and land them in a murky pond infested with big black snakes and dead fish.
Oh my God.
The boats would also flip on a regular basis. One time, this one guy crashed into the dock, flew over top of another boat, nearly decapitating the other driver who was bleeding everywhere. Battle action tanks.
What?
This is where mini tanks that people would get inside and shoot tennis balls at each other. One time, a guest poured gasoline into the tennis balls and began shooting flaming balls of fire at the other tanks and people in the park.
You're just on the highway driving by and you go, I'm so glad we visited New Jersey, sweetheart. San Francisco, the hustle and bustle. Is that a child in a tank shooting flaming balls? Oh my God! He's on the highway with you.
The Alpine Center featured one of the park's most dangerous rides called the Alpine Slide. This one is going to hit home for you.
Okay.
People would ride the chairlift to the top of the mountain and ride back down on a cart on a metal slide. Sound familiar?
Absolutely.
Carts would fall off of the chairlift and hit people going down the slide.
Oh my God. Yeah, they have a version of this in Calgary.
We love going to it. You take a chairlift up to the top of the mountain. It's a ski resort too.
Yeah.
Must be a common practice for ski resorts to
And
do
it
this in the
is
summer.
already pretty dangerous.
Yeah. So you ride up to the top. You get on a little cart.
Yeah, it's like
It's
a
the
little
same thing, and
gravity powered.
You
just-
pull
yeah.
back to stop, and
Or-
you push forward to go.
Never pull back and just just cream
Go.
people. Yeah.
And I think we said while we were there, we were like, this feels like Action Park.
Yeah.
But you're not on a tiny track. You get a full road
Yeah.
that you go down. But I did see people wipe out.
I saw some kid with a bleeding leg. Yeah.
Yeah, like this is not, it's
But
not
that's-
safe.
We all agree that there should be a little bit of risk involved to have fun, right? But this is just too much, man.
Once riders arrived at the top of the mountain, they saw pictures of injuries endured by other riders, warning them how dangerous this ride was that they were about to take part in.
Psychologically torturing people before he sends them on the ride.
The track was very narrow and made of fiberglass, concrete, and asbestos.
Good. Yeah.
The carts used a stick that you would pull up to engage the brake. So
Yeah, same thing.
exactly the same.
Yeah.
Hold on, I have to adjust RuPaul.
That's so cool. Come to Calgary and do downhill racing and
Windsport.
experience a bit of Action Park. Windsport is also where those kids got decapitated.
Oh yeah.
So it all kind of works.
Yeah,
together.
for those of you who are not Canadian, there were 16-year-olds that broke into Windsport, which is where the Calgary Olympics were held.
The bobsled track.
And they broke into the bobsled track and they went down and it had been closed with a
Like a gate, like a chain.
link gate. And when they got to the bottom,
It just ripped.
it ripped their heads off. Really, a really horrible part in Calgary's history that everybody thinks about whenever they go there.
Yeah.
That's sad. Most of the sleds were broken. Lots of people would fly off the track and injure themselves on the mountain if they didn't brake at the right time. Most people would come off of the Alpine slide injured, and usually it was around 100 to 150 people a weekend that were injured. People who were injured were taken to a small shed they called the infirmary. Here, they would make you stand inside a circle and spray you with some mysterious liquid, most likely alcohol and iodine, to disinfect your injury. The person would say, "This is gonna hurt," and then give you the task of staying inside the circle while suffering from the pain. If you stayed inside the circle, you won a prize.
What is he, a medieval king? Just chewing a big turkey leg? Stay in the circle! Suffer, you treasonous peasant! Spray! Spray! Good boy! Here's your scraps. What was the prize?
They said that only 2 people ever won, and it ended up being an Action Park pen.
It doesn't even work. Get the fuck out of my office.
Action Park was using up so much of the town's ambulances that the town told the park they had to buy their own ambulance, which they did.
Wow.
There were many rides that Gene attempted to make happen, but were so dangerous that even he couldn't put them into Action Park. One of those rides was called The Man in the Ball in the Ball. This was 2 giant balls within each other that a person would climb inside, and the ball would be pushed down a track on the mountain made out of PVC pipe. The day they tested out this ride with a real person, it was extremely hot, which caused the PVC pipe to expand. When this guy got inside the ball, the track completely fell apart, which caused the ball to be derailed with the man inside, rolling down the ski slope, crossing the highway, and landing in the swamp across the highway.
Wow. This is amazing, dude.
Another ride that was ultimately canceled was a water slide that was inspired by zero-gravity airplanes. The idea would be that riders would go off of these giant jumps and take flight as they went down the hill. Just like the Cannonball Loop, they tested it by sending employees off of it. One of these tests went horribly wrong when one man did a running start onto the water slide, which made him go way faster than he was supposed to go. When he went off of one of the jumps, it shooted him way past the landing point on the water slide, and he had to be medically evacuated from the site, which shut down the ride.
Okay.
Even the park itself caused pain to its thrill seekers. The entire park was paved in highway-grade asphalt that was absorbing heat and burning people's feet.
Oh my God, this is like if Caligula, like a Roman emperor,
Prove your fealty to me by walking on the hot coals.
All the food was old and stale that they served. The bread was so dry for hot dogs and hamburgers that they would steam them in boiling water and then they would become moist again.
Yeah, I experienced this at Callaway Park recently.
The bread?
Those were some shitty ass hot
Yeah,
dogs.
yeah. I mean, amusement park food is never really that good.
But that's what I don't understand. You can go to the grocery store and buy hot dogs are easy. They come in a thing, you buy them and they're good. You just boil them and they're good. And you put them in a bun. How do you fuck up hot dogs?
The bun.
The bun, yeah, I guess.
The park was run by teenagers, 16 and 17-year-olds with no prior management or work experience that were taking control of a third of the park. They would haze new recruits by using them as test dummies or testing them as drowning victims. Everyone got hired no matter what, and they didn't follow any labor laws. At that time, you had to legally be 16 to operate rides, but kids as young as 14 were working the rides at the park. Lots of employees were romantically involved with each other and would hook up, have sex, and smoke pot at the shed located at the top of the Alpine slide.
Mm-hmm.
All the teenagers would save the money they found around the park and in the pools, and at the end of every summer, they would hold a massive party at the water park that they called the Kamanawanalea party. Why did they name it that? I don't know.
Kamanawanalea?
The Kamanawanalea party.
Okay.
Everyone slept over at the park and got extremely intoxicated and then would go back to work the next morning.
Wow, that's a rough day to show up there.
Well, you wake up and you're at work?
No, I mean to be a guest.
Oh.
You're getting bad emergency response on that day when you're the man in the ball. Oh, fuck, man. Is that a guy on the highway? Oh, shit. I don't know. It'll probably just sort itself out. Okay, good. He's dead.
Everyone was drunk at Action Park. The employees and the patrons. There was a massive tent where they would hold a version of Oktoberfest and Summerfest all summer. At these events, the liquor was flowing.
And it's the 70s, so you know there's like 3 active serial killers operating in the park.
Yeah.
And the bodies are just hidden somewhere under the eel.
The eel pit.
Yeah.
Gene dismantled an entire brewery from Germany and had it sent to Action Park. There was also a bar area where people could be served alcohol all day long.
He's reverse engineering an Oktoberfest tavern and shipping it to America, yes. But they can't give me a fresh hot dog bun?
Yes! The lifeguards had a system where they would put bracelets onto patrons that read CFS.
Child for sadism. What is it?
Can't fucking swim.
We got a CFS. Should I save him? No, we laugh. Okay, he's dead.
So other employees would know that person couldn't swim and acted as a warning to other people and lifeguards.
Yeah, so wait, so isn't the job of a lifeguard to observe, and if someone struggles to swim, you save that person?
Yes.
I can't just watch the pool. So can you tell me who's going to drown ahead of time? Yeah. Oh, that guy, I think he's been underwater for 4... No, he doesn't have a bracelet. That guy can fucking swim. Oh, no, he's dead.
Everyone called Gene Mulvihill Uncle Gene, and a lot of behavior in the park stemmed from him as he hated rules and regulations.
This guy hates safety.
Yeah.
He hates rules.
Gene even came up with the idea to keep park goers in line who were sneaking on rides without tickets to threaten them with a cattle prod, essentially a long taser, by staging fake assaults where the ride goer would pretend to die.
Okay, that's hilarious. That's hilarious.
Eventually, parents started calling to complain that their children had seen someone get murdered at the park for not having a ticket.
That's the first thing you see. La, 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 la. Hey, bitch, you trying to cut? Stop. He's already dead. And then that's just it. You go about your day. Your feet are burning. There's eels and trout and frogs, and you're
Covered in road burn.
in the sky. You're on the highway. There's burning tennis balls being shot at your fucking head.
Gene didn't believe in insurance. He thought that if someone got hurt, they should be responsible for their injuries and what happened to them.
He's the serial killer. He is the active serial killer. He just found a way to get lots of victims into one place and watch them
Be tortured.
He's worse than Hitler, this guy. Okay, maybe he's not worse than Hitler. Can you imagine if this guy was in charge of the camps? What if we put them on a loop-de-loop into the incinerator? A little ride.
Oh, God, that's really bad. It's really fucking bad.
Hello, Fraulein. Would you like to win a prize?
Oh my God. But Gene needed insurance in order to stay open, so he created his own fake insurance company called London and World Assurance, based out of the Cayman Islands.
He created his own insurance company to insure himself?
Yes. His fake insurance company wasn't just used to avoid paying insurance, but he also used it to launder money. Eventually, the state began to do a large-scale investigation into Gene, which led to a 110-count indictment. Gene pled guilty to counts of fraud, theft, and conspiracy, and was ordered to give up control of Action Park. In order to get out of this, Gene stopped paying his bills and filing paperwork to the state which he rented the land from. The state was so annoyed with Gene.
Because he's showing up to court in a ball. He's a ball in a ball. He's rolling himself in. Gene, could you get out of the ball?
The state was so annoyed with Gene that they sold him the land for $800,000.
I mean, I guess that just goes to show if you're annoying enough, you can do anything. That's what happened to Sean Diddy Combs.
There's no way to say exactly how many people were injured at Action Park because the state required that they only report serious injuries. That left it up to Gene to decide what was serious and what wasn't. That means he probably was reporting a very small fraction of what actually happened there.
Gene, this child's spine is outside his body. I mean, but it's clean. Medium severity.
Because Gene was extremely rich and had friends in high places, he almost never got ticketed. One of these friends was Donald Trump.
Well, we've got the most tremendous loop. They call it the shredder for a little ride.
Trump almost invested in Action Park, but it was too unhinged, even for him. Many people did try to sue Action Park, but Gene would take them to trial every single time. His philosophy was that they fight every case and never settle. This would make these cases very dragged out and expensive for those suing, which was no big deal to Gene, who had lots of money. 93% of the cases were won by Gene, and word got around that he would never settle, so most lawyers would not take cases against Gene. In the small amount of cases that Gene lost, he simply just refused to pay them. Some of these people would then send U.S. Marshals to Gene to collect what he owed. He was the kind of guy that was like, what are you going to do about it?
Yeah. Yeah. He reminds me of Russ McManey.
Yeah.
They would have been great friends.
Yeah.
Spitballing ideas. And what if you put a cage inside the ride? What if you hold a girl under... Are we talking about the torture or the... I don't know. It's potato.
However, one thing he couldn't escape were the deaths that happened at Action Park. All right, you got any more jokes about Action Park? Because we're about to go into the...
I'm good.
All right. On July 8th, 1980, 19-year-old George Larson was visiting Action Park when he was supposed to be working with his dad and father. He was going to stop quickly at the park and was riding the Alpine slide when the car jumped off the track and he hit his head on a rock.
No helmets.
No helmets.
Was anyone wearing helmets? Was it optional? No helmets.
No helmets.
They had helmets back then, right? When did they invent the helmet?
Yeah, they had helmets back then.
That's crazy to not have helmets.
When his family had arrived at the hospital to see him, he had been induced into a coma. There was no sign that he was ever going to wake up, and on July 16th, 1980, George passed away.
Oh my God.
George's mom attempted suicide by walking out in front of a truck. She was in so much pain from losing her son. George died 4 days before his brother's wedding, which he was supposed to be best man at. Gene never contacted the family. The park argued that the ride didn't kill him.
The ground did.
The rock that hit him in the head did.
Oh God.
They told
I don't need to make jokes. They're doing it for me.
They told the papers that George was an employee of the park and that this incident happened at night while it was raining.
Okay. But okay. What is... That's all fun. It's fun for the little story. But you're in a legal situation and you go, whoa, our ride didn't kill him. The rock that he landed on after he was shot off the ride killed him. Like, who is hearing this? Isn't there like a policeman or so what do they go like, that checks out? That ridiculous sentence?
I know.
Well, I mean, what okay, but who is he saying this to? It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, probably.
They shot him into a rock.
They probably went in and investigated it and he said that.
But it doesn't make any sense.
I know. But he's got money.
Do they all have lead poisoning? I know
Yes.
this is the 70s, but fuck. These are boomers. These are pre-boomers.
So none of what they claimed was true. That he was an employee or that it happened at night while it was raining. It all happened during regular work hours.
Why would any of those things matter anyway?
Because they said if it was an employee past hours, there's no way to make sure that it was safe. You know?
But it wasn't.
But it wasn't. He was a
lied.
patron who went during hours when the ride was operating.
I mean, this really just feels like it's like corruption, and his friends are protecting him because that would be pretty easy to fact check.
Exactly.
Like, what?
The park never reported his death to the state because they claimed he was an employee and wasn't a member of the general public. The rocks that George hit his head on were ordered to be removed before George's accident,
so they could be placed in Mulville's office as a fun little toy.
No, before.
They were supposed to get rid of them.
Before it happened. And
But
they didn't.
Oh my God.
The family eventually settled for $100,000.
Wow, that's bullshit. Fuck that guy.
Yeah. On July 24th, 1982, 15-year-old George Lopez tragically died in the wave pool, which was way too powerful and crowded. There was an area of the wave pool called the death zone, where people would panic and grab onto each other. People were constantly being rescued here, and the water was so murky from mud and tanning lotion and beer being dripped into the pool, so people were hard to see. On July 19th, 1987, 18-year-old Gregory Grandchamps also died in the wave pool.
2 people died in that zone? Oh my God, dude. That's crazy.
On August 1st, 1982, Jeffrey Nathan, a 27-year-old man, was taking part in a ride called the Kayak Experience, which would push you along the water by underwater fans that would create rapids while you were in the kayak. Jeffrey fell out of his kayak and stepped onto a grate that was in contact with an exposed live wiring for these fans and suffered severe electric shock and died from cardiac arrest. The ride was drained and closed for investigation, but essentially was found in working condition, which made the park reopen the ride. In 1984, a fatal heart attack was suffered by a guest who went into shock after taking part in the Tarzan swing and going into shock due to the temperature of the water, which was 10 degrees Celsius, which was meant to mimic spring water, like I had said before.
Wow.
On August 27th, 1984, 20-year-old Donald DePass drowned in the cliff dive pool. Lifeguards dove into the pool to look for him in the 15-feet pool of water, which was murky and discolored. The lifeguards couldn't spot him at the bottom of the pool due to this reason. Eventually, after a long time of multiple people searching for Donald, they found him unconscious and were unable to revive him. The pool was then painted white so that they were able to find people easier. Because of the bad reputation that the park had gained by the mid-1990s, people stopped going to Action Park. Gene found it harder and harder to finance the park when his biggest investors were charged with fraud. Eventually, GAR, the parent company, declared bankruptcy and the park was forced to close its gates at the end of the 1996 summer season. In 1998, Action Park was purchased by another large attraction company and destroyed most of its attractions that were left behind. It became a generic water park named Mountain Creek. Gene died on October 27, 2012, at the age of 78. In 2014, Gene's son Randy revived the Action Park name with the intentions to bring the park back to life. And in 2018, the park was bought by a former Action Park employee.
In 2018?
Yep. But it's renamed. They named it back to Mountain Creek, I think, and it has none of the...
It's just like a water park.
Yeah.
Wow, that's fucking wild, dude.
And that's the end of the Action Park tale.
Jesus Christ. You know, the 70s is not that long ago, and that just could not exist in America.
Boys can't even be boys and girls can't even be girls anymore.
Okay.
They're too woke. They're too woke. But really, I mean, they were wild back then. They were throwing people off fucking cliffs.
Yeah.
And now you want me to say your pronouns? When I was a kid, we were sprayed with iodine in a fucking circle.
Okay, Gramps.
For a pen. I'm not, no. Mulville was a good man. Once we played Bury the Jew. It was a ride that he was trying out. He'd see if you were Jewish, and he'd put you under the ground. Where am I? It's fucking boomers, man. It's ridiculous. And we listen to their opinions on Facebook. These people's heads have been crashing off multiple... They're putting litter boxes in schools. Your mind has been lacerated at Action Park. All right, guys. That's a fun little one. Well, I mean, it's not fun. This episode was kind of like Action Park. Fun and horrifying. And fuck that guy. He's in hell right now. The ultimate ride. He's loving it. That's sick fuck.
What kind of rides do you think are in hell?
The Action Park rides.
It's just Action Park, but you can't leave.
No.
You have to keep going on the rides over and over again. You have to do the cannonball loop like 10 times in a row.
Yeah, yeah. Hitler's in the ball in a ball right now, bouncing around the freeway.
There's nothing in the world like Action Park, where you're the center of the action. It's bigger and better than ever. Something for everyone looking for fun. Get ready for the action.
Catch the action with over 50 rides, shows, and attractions at the world's largest participation park, where you and the rides become one. You're just minutes away.
There's nothing in the world like Action Park.
Okay, guys, I would love it if you would join the Patreon. Go to patreon.com/Christie's Movie Club to get bonus episodes. Tell your friends about this, and please leave a 5-star review on Apple or Spotify. That goes a long way to help us. Anything else, Christy?
Yeah, if you want to have your story featured on the bonus episode, we sometimes feature a listener tale of an interesting thing from your life. It could be literally anything. You can email that to bonusfeatures.contact@gmail.com. Please follow us on Instagram at bonusfeatures_podcast.
And seriously, if you went to Action Park.
Yeah, please write in. Please write in. Also, on the Instagram, we post photos that correlate with each episode, so it's kind of nice if you want to get some visuals on.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. See you next week, guys.
Bye.